And it is a great Monday afternoon in the undefeated city of Philadelphia. Good afternoon. Sean Brace, John Jansen with you here. It's the Daily Ticket. Of course, opening up the 3 o'clock hour with a special edition of Luke and I on the Phillies. Shout out to our Phillies insider, Luke Arcani. A lot to chew on there as the Phillies and Major League Baseball get it going for the best part of their season. Of course, playoff baseball getting started tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Phillies 8:08 first pitch. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But John Jansen, let's not waste any time. Let's talk some NFL. And of course, the Philadelphia Eagles come away with a tough, hard-nosed victory, hard-fought victory at home. Did it need to be so interesting?
No, you know, I wish no Eagles game is interesting.
Yeah, those guys are professionals, as they say on the other side. You know, the Commanders, they can move the football, they can throw it. There's no excuses. The Eagles should have pulled away and handled business at home. It didn't happen.
No, it didn't. But it happens, especially in that kind of game where Washington is actually playing well. Like, I think Sam Howell played well. I thought Eric Bieniemy called a great game.
Yes,
and you're coupling that with the Eagles secondary being banged up. They had injuries all over safety.
Yes.
They have an injury with their slot cornerback as well with Devontae Maddox. So Joby has to play a lot. So it's just a marriage of a lot of things that turned out what that game was, especially Washington throwing the ball and Sam Howell being so successful. But I mean, it's the NFL though.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if it was that easy to win games like that as a favorite, nobody would ever bet underdog. You would just bet the favorite in Vegas always. They're always going to cover. They're always going to win. But Sean, guess what? That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Ever. That's why we bet underdogs. That's why good gamblers, at least, I don't know if I'm a good one or I consider myself one, but good bettors look for those edges, look for the points, look for close games that people don't think are going to be close because it's the NFL and it happens. And it happened to the Eagles. It happened to the damn Chiefs.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson torched the Chiefs secondary.
No, he didn't.
It happens.
He didn't torch him.
And the second half he did.
Yeah, right.
I didn't watch it though. I don't know.
That's
what I'm seeing.
Anything.
I don't know. I was watching videos. Some of those throws are really good, but also Sam Howell looked really good. I thought he just made some great throws. It's okay that Washington played well against the Eagles. I don't think it needs to be any crazy panic alarm button situation.
No.
They won. They're 4-0. They just won a division game and a game that maybe their defense didn't play their best. Fine. And they still won the game.
Yeah, there's a stat floating around about how teams, and we talked about this all off season long, like what would be the flaw? How did the Eagles open up and not win games? And the only thing that we had was the hangover effect. Bottom line is you nailed it. This team won again. They're 4-0. If you took them at home and given the 8 points, I feel for you because I thought that they were going to cover that number, even though that they were down by double digits. It's just the expectation with this offense. A.J. Brown going for $175. Shout out to my former coworker, Joe DeCamera, saying, we got to do something about this A.J. Brown deal. What do you mean?
Wait, what?
What do we got to do?
I mean, what one? What deal? The deal where he had 9 catches for 170-something yards and 2 touchdowns?
I have no idea what he meant.
How do we deal with that?
Was I watching
What do you
the
do?
same game?
How do you deal with that, Sean? That's too much success. Dial it back. Dial it back,
Is that what
AJ.
he meant?
Pink cleats? Are you kidding me? Dial it back, AJ.
That's what he meant, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. What
who knows?
Who knows? Well, he was fantastic yesterday.
But let's point out the flaws if we could, because that's what we do here. And this team is talking about championship, capabilities. And one thing that they're lacking, and this where I'm going, it's the defensive pass rush. Now they had 3 sacks yesterday, but it's not there. It's just not consistent enough. And this is October 1. So we're now into another month. We're going to get closer and closer. I could look at the offense gelling. I could look at play calling improving. I could look at a number of things that maybe people could nitpick about this team moving in a progressive direction of getting better, improving, right? I can't see this from the defensive side of the ball getting after the quarterback. I just don't know where this is going to come from. Hassan Reddick had a sack yesterday. Actually, no, they had more than 3.
Yeah, they did. Because Nicholas Morrow, I think, had
five
by himself.
Five. Correct. Morrow had 3 by himself. Excuse me. They gave up 3. Yeah, so 5 sacks.
Nicholas Morrow was incredible.
But my point is, it's just like it's not there when you need it in those crunch times. Now, I know the defense was tired, but you got to be able to get a sack, and you can't allow these teams to just chew up clock and go on 12 play drives at the end of the fourth quarter. It just can't happen. And that's the frustrating part about yesterday more than anything for me. And I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat as we are here, where it's just like giving up that touchdown at the end of regulation. Come on, like that. Just way too interesting to go to overtime and to sneak away with a dub, because if it goes to OT, anything is possible. One big play, a kick return, touchdown, it's over. And you can't have that when you're talking about getting home field advantage. And we know how important that's going to be, because these are the games that they got to win, John. We talked about 6-0. They're staring 6-0 right in the face. You got to win these games, because it's only going to get more difficult with the Bills, the Dolphins, the Niners, the Cowboys. The best of the best is coming up. So they got to win these games. They did. I'm happy. But if I could just nitpick a little bit, I'm worried about the pass rush. I love the guys up the middle. I love the way that they're battling as far as shutting down the run game. I don't think the Commanders did all that much as far as running the football. They had 107 total yards. Main guy, Robinson, I think had 45 plus, if I'm not mistaken. We know that that's going to be the backbone of the operation, the strength. But you got to sack the quarterback. You got to get there. And I'm just worried about that.
I mean, I think it's okay to be worried about it at this point, because Reddick's just done.
Spoiled from last year. Let me just cut you off and
certainly
say
spoiled from last year. Yeah.
Yes.
They were never going to repeat that. So if you were looking for 70 sacks again or whatever, was it 70 sacks? Yeah, I think
I'm looking for a team that's
a crazy
10,
number.
Top 10. Going into this game, there was 11 teams with double-digit sacks. The Eagles had 6.
I don't think it's overall been terrible, but I think it does need to be better, because this was a game. I didn't think Sam Howell was getting the ball out that quick.
Mm-hmm.
There were opportunities to get him, and he just had all day back there. I don't know if Reddick is going to be himself again this year. I don't know. It's Josh Sweat. We've been seeing signs, flashes of somebody that could be a good pass rusher, but he's inconsistent. Brandon Graham was their best pass rusher yesterday.
I agree.
And that can't be the case when you have a guy who's how old and been in the league how long being your best pass rusher. And also a linebacker that's not traditionally a pass rusher being your best pass rusher in Nicholas Morrow. Yeah, I think defensive end is a bit of a worry here.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if there's anything scheme related you can change to do that, because everything worked last year. Is it just trying to get those guys back into a similar scheme? I didn't think really much changed with the defense at all in terms of that, but maybe it did. I don't know. I'm not seeing the same play last year that we did, especially from Hassan Reddick. I think there is something wrong with Reddick, and it's got to be more than just an injury at this point.
Yeah, look, it made sense from the thumb. He couldn't get off, and that's going to be difficult for him, especially if he's going through pain. Understood. Did he look a little bit better yesterday? Sure. And I don't want to harp on this. It's just one thing that's on my mind. You and I watched the game together, and we, when they're going down the field in the fourth quarter, we all know what's at stake. You just got to get there. You have to complete it. Now, they came away with 5 sacks. They got 11 on the season. They're middle of the pack, but we know that it's an area that they need to improve on if we're talking about a championship contender, a team
it is,
that will be a lock to win come playoff time.
Yeah, I think yesterday was the worst of it, because you had an offensive line that just gave up 9 sacks in the last game to Buffalo.
Correct.
An offensive line that could be beat, and a team that is Sam Howell's going to hold on to the ball because he's not the best quarterback, so he doesn't see things as well, and he's not throwing with great timing all the time. You can get to him, and the Eagles just weren't able to get to him. They did 5 sacks, fine, but still way too many plays in between that where he just had way too much time. The good thing, though, is I think they have actually been okay, just haven't gotten home yet. They've gotten pressures. They've made quarterbacks uncomfortable. I don't think Baker Mayfield really was comfortable at all in that game against Tampa. I think the defensive line's been good, but this is clearly not the elite part of their game that they had last year.
And when you got
that was their biggest strength was
Yep.
pass
And
rush.
when you have the injuries in the backside, that's how you can improve if you get after the quarterback a little bit faster. But again, we're 4-0. This is nitpicking time. That's it. That was a big time win at home against the Commanders, division victory.
And I think it's fair to nitpick that stuff.
That's fun.
The one thing I don't get is, because Brian Johnson has one, I think, bad play call, and it was that third and 11 handoff to Kenneth Gainwell. First of all, why is Kenneth Gainwell in? Second, it was a bad call because it's 3rd and 11 and you're running the ball. Like this sweep to the outside. But overall, play calling, I think, has been fine. Like they've scored a bunch of points.
Sure.
Jalen Hurts has been able to find guys downfield. There are players open. There's some questionable things like the quarterback sneak and stuff, but you got to find a way to use Jalen Hurts' ability somehow. I don't know. I think the offense has looked fine. I don't think anything wrong with it. And again, we mentioned with Sean Desai, his entire secondary is hurt. So what are they going to do? Even Darius Slay at one point got hurt.
Yeah, he did.
So what are you going to do?
Offensively, it's just not as crisp, and I think a lot has to do with Jalen Hurts. It's at times, but then he has the moments where he's putting the ball on the money, and it's just like, all right, that's him right there. But still, just the offensive play calling, getting some players involved like Dallas Goedert that needs to be featured somewhat more in this offense. I'm not going to throw my hands up in the air again. A.J. Brown went off. Devontae had 8-7 catches.
Awesome catch before the half too. One of the probably the most clutch play of the day was that catch because them getting 3 before the half was huge.
But we know what it looked like last year, right? And that's the bar, and that's where I stand.
But it's never going to look like last year.
It can though,
it
because
can't.
they still.
No,
what are you talking about?
It definitely can.
They still got an unbelievable offensive line that's dealing with an injury right now. All the pieces are there. What are you talking about?
Because it's a different year. It's never. Last year was so perfect. Patrick Mahomes, even I always bring this up all the time because everybody just imagines Patrick Mahomes is playing 100% his best football all the time. No, he's not. But he can still play well in big moments, and they still win a bunch of games. It's the same thing with the Eagles. Last year was insane. Like to put the Eagles on that pedestal, like they're still going to win a bunch of games, and they can have a better record. Whatever. I mean, they had a great record last year, right? The record could be good, but to have the type of numbers that they did, that across the board was unbelievable what they did. I mean, they broke Eagles records over and over and over again.
Didn't they start off with a better start? Didn't they start out with a better start? Like they weren't running the football like they did with DeAndre Swift last year in those first 3 games, right?
No, I mean, Sanders had a good
2 out of
year.
3.
I mean, it was, I don't know when it started, but once they started to get on that run, look, again, they broke records, franchise records.
Understood.
Like it is, you can't do that every year.
I disagree.
That's impossible to do.
I'm not saying breaking records. I'm talking about
crispness. But that's the crispness, though.
No,
they've still been great.
No, it's
not. Like what bar are we holding them to? We're holding them to last year's
Super Bowl
standard.
championship caliber.
They
bar.
look like it. What other team has looked as good as the Eagles?
No, a great question, and that's what we're running with right now. You can get involved over on our socials at Fox PHO Gambler. I'm with you. Who has looked the best through 4 weeks? Again, you have to put the Eagles in that conversation. You put the 49ers in that conversation. You put the Bills who lost. You put the Miami Dolphins who just lost. Who else? Kansas City Chiefs have to be there out of respect.
Yes.
Even though
they always will be. And I don't care about any game.
Yesterday.
Yeah, it was atrocious. They've had games like that before. I will never take into account not meaningless, but it's a week 4 game on Sunday night against the New York Jets on the road. They got the win. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with the Chiefs.
Look, for me, and you saw the dumb penalties like this. These officials are really chomping to just get after the Eagles, it feels like, right? Woe is me. But come on, that push, and you're going to call offsides. Like, what? How is that even possible? Just weird. So, they're already, the eyes are there from the ref side, and I'm not making any excuses. I just think that there are some drives that they can complete. Get into the red zone. Jalen Hurts said it as much. What would have made yesterday's different as far as finishing drives inside the red zone? That was the team last year, and I know they can do that this year. They still have the best offensive line. I'll put my money on all those guys up front. Now Dickerson does have a foot injury, if I'm not mistaken. He's going to miss a couple.
Juergens does.
Oh, Juergens, excuse me. And that's going to be a tough loss, but this team, what we have known over the past few years is you lose an offensive lineman. They got some pretty good horses in the stable to bounce back up and replace them. We'll see if that's the case here. But I have confidence in Jalen Hurts. I have confidence in Sirianni.
I have confidence in Jalen Hurts.
AJ Brown's a beast.
Yeah, he is.
He's an absolute beast. But like I said, nitpicking Dallas
Which is why when guys have that,
when
guys like AJ Brown have that kind of, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, spat on the sideline, sometimes they're right. AJ Brown is a dominant. Everybody wants to make, Devontae Smith the number one guy and say he's going to be the breakout. And, technically he's better than AJ Brown, all of that. But AJ Brown is bigger than you. He's faster than you, and he's better than you. Throw the ball up to that guy as many times as you want. And guess what? It worked. His yak is unbelievable. That touchdown pass, he catches it, breaks 2 tackles, and then down the field for a touchdown. The dude is insane. Get it to your best athletes, your best players. And the Eagles did that yesterday, and their offense looked better than it did all year.
Well, they did it in Tampa, too, and he dropped. So, you got to catch the ball, too.
You do got to catch the ball.
Just say, I believe in AJ. Team is locked 4-0.
Have to believe in AJ.
At Fox PHL Gambler, through 4 weeks, who's impressed you the most? Who's looked the best? And let's talk about the Chiefs and real quick on this one. Because last night, now this is the...
Was there even a game on last night?
This is the weird part.
It looked like a fan cam for Taylor Swift.
17 times they put her on television. They opened
Did they?
Up.
Wait,
yes.
Somebody counted?
Yeah, they counted. It was Front Office Sports had the countdown. There was commercials about
I thought it was 17 before kickoff.
I've never seen anything like this. And to be honest with you, who wants it? If I'm 42, I'm not the Taylor Swift, genre. I'm not in that world. So I guess the take would be, well, I'm not going anywhere. The NFL fan isn't going anywhere. So how do you capture the Taylor Swift fan and make sure that they stay? Well, you show her. All right. And again, no matter what they do, we're not going to go anywhere.
Is it really the 5 seconds every 30 minutes you show Taylor Swift? Is that really keeping the 18 to 24-year-old female
All
watching?
I know is this. Last night, it was the first time that I contemplated shutting off announcers. And
I did.
I'm surprised I did not. I've never done that before. I've complained about announcers. Never I've been like, all right, I've had enough of these guys talking. Let me put this TV, let me put this game on mute and either watch it in stone cold silence or maybe watch something on my laptop while I got it, or just switch it up. I didn't know. But that was nauseating. It was frustrating. It was just weird. Like, what is going on? And then they're standing in the box. It's like you're not big enough. You're not popular enough. You need everyone in the stadium to see you. What is that standing in the box for? That was weird. Just enough. Enough, please. I'm begging you.
I had enough.
Begging you
because you showing Taylor Swift for 5 seconds again every 30 minutes. That's not adding anything. They will
wait. Back that up. Would you say every 30 minutes? John, it was in the pregame. It was as soon as the game kicked off.
I know. I mean,
it was.
But you're showing in very short bursts Taylor Swift. I mean, it was enough that it's noticeable. But she wasn't on the screen for an hour at a time or anything, or 30 minutes at a time. It's very quick. So I think it's okay. They're going to tune in. There is a population of Taylor Swift's audience that is going to watch the game just because Taylor's there, no matter what. So it doesn't matter if you show her or not. They're just going to watch it because Taylor's there. At least be an inviting, hey, this is something maybe you don't watch. Maybe you aren't an NFL fan. This, welcome. Be inviting, but you don't have to flash on there all the time. Oh, look, for the Taylor Swift fans, here's Taylor. Wow. Because what is that? What value is that adding to anyone?
Never seen anything like this.
It doesn't make sense to me.
And you have these TV,
is that person who's watching just for Taylor Swift, and you get just staying there for that 5 seconds.
And I love you dig these TV execs up, and they're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Anytime we're gonna show Taylor Swift and her good-looking crew, it's a good thing. And I'm like, look, I think there's a yin and yang to everything. And one thing I will always go back on, and for the people that don't remember this, or you need a refresher, there's a great ESPN book where they talk about a full chapter on the whole Tim Tebow saga. Just because everybody's all in and the engagement and the numbers are through the roof on social, doesn't generally always mean it's a good thing. And this is clearly one of those cases. I'm not sitting here telling you don't show Taylor Swift.
But you can.
But do you have to
but
talk
not the
about
focal
her?
point of the game?
Yes, the game was secondary. It
because
was.
I mean, think of the position you're in. I think it's really cool that Taylor Swift is at these games and there is attention being brought from possibly an audience that you don't get. And it could possibly bring new fans.
And it is entertainment. At the end of the day, that's all they care about is viewership. But man, you got to.
But I think it's great because you could get more football fans. But I don't think it's happening because all you're doing is showing Taylor. You're going, hey, here's our game, but Taylor's the big part of it. This is all Taylor. Instead of just, hey, you're watching the game because of Taylor Swift. Here's our game. Here's football. Here's what's great about it. Here's some players to root for. Anything like that. No, it's just, oh yeah, you're here for this and not. Our thing. You're here for Taylor Swift.
Tarico Collinsworth and Melissa Stark were literally like nails on a chalkboard.
It was terrible.
That I've never said that before. Like, I love Tarico. I don't mind Collinsworth. Melissa Stark, who cares, right? Like, she does one hit per quarter, whatever, right? I didn't mean that any disrespectful. I'm just saying when you're a sideline reporter, you don't really hear them, right? But last night, that was brutal. That was brutal. Who enjoyed that?
Nobody.
I don't know, man. And again, like I said, you get these executives. They're like, oh, it's a good thing. This is what you want to do. I disagree. I definitely disagree. There's a line, and absolutely 100% in my mind, they crossed that line last night.
Yeah, they did. Well, you know how.
Now, I do want to say this. Mike Lombardi, who I love on VSiN, because that is a man who's very confident in himself. If you'll ask him, he invented the damn game of football. But he opened his show today on VSiN saying it's a distraction for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Said that with a straight face. Got pushback from his co-host. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. But that's a fire take right there. John Jansen, are you buying that? That the Taylor Swift nonsense that is around the team right now with Travis Kelce, and I got to get him the rock that's wrong with football. Everybody bet that didn't happen. My goodness, how about the sliding on the 3-yard line? What a back-breaking play for all Kansas City Chief backers. I feel for you. But we know Mahomes and Andy Reid, they do that, mainly Mahomes. It's not the first time we've seen him with his athleticism, run the ball, pick up that tough first down, and next thing you know, they're kneeling it out. You don't see that final second score by the Kansas City Chiefs in the past 6 years. We know that.
Yeah.
But man, just brutal from us watching that last night, and then having Kelce not scored a touchdown, Kansas City not coming away. If you bet the Jets, God bless you. Like I bet the Jets the previous week. I'm not looking for a pat on the back, but that was all I needed to see. That was a disgrace against the Cowboys. I couldn't believe I put my hard-earned money on it. For people to back the Jets at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, I salute you. That took a major set, a major pair to do that. I did not. It was the right side. Nice work by you. I think you got extremely lucky, but oh well. But Kelce didn't score a touchdown. Everybody was on that, including myself. I just want to see that. But Mike Lombardi is saying that this is a distraction for a team that's been to the Super Bowl how many times?
No, this is the
last few years.
But that's we all get, up in arms of, oh my gosh, the Chiefs are in a close game against a team they shouldn't be in a close game with. They lost to the Colts last year. They lost to the Indianapolis Colts, who were awful last year. And guess what, Sean? They won a Super Bowl. It just doesn't matter to me that even if they lost that game, it just doesn't matter because the Chiefs are going to figure it out. This game means nothing. There's no distractions. It's a team that has been to the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl for like the last 5 years, and they're always deep in these playoff runs. It's a team that's, has this target on their back for the last 5 years since Mahomes has been a starter. There's going to be games like this. It's going to happen. They're not going to look like a dominant football team.
The Raiders game comes to my mind last year. Didn't the Raiders go into Arrowhead and beat them?
Yes, they did. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah.
Look, we don't see Mahomes throw interceptions. He looked terrible yesterday. That was one of the worst games I can remember Patrick Mahomes throwing the football.
Yep.
Problem is Patrick Mahomes has these things called legs. And when you run man coverage and you got people 40 yards down the field, and oh, by the way, the refs aren't calling holding. Mike, did you see that play? Good grief.
Well,
Guy
they
got
were calling
mugged.
holding.
Well,
but,
one way, yeah. Then Mahomes he went back-to-back plays, picked up those the first down, and the one didn't count, and the other one did. It was like 30 yards. He runs down the field, picks it up. What are you going to do? It's just so tough. We saw it in the Super Bowl. We know better than most. You just have to play a perfect game to beat Patrick Mahomes because that's how good he is.
Yeah, and you still couldn't even beat him.
No.
And he came up with the big plays too. So, I mean, not his best game. Did throw a couple of picks, but I'm sure there's an adjustment next week, and they're going to look fine. Like, there's nothing. If you're Kansas City or Kansas City fan or Kansas City backer, there is nothing to worry about so far. Now, if you're Cincinnati, you got something to worry about, but that's a different story. So, because you're losing games.
So, would you say true or false? The Chiefs didn't cover last night because Taylor Swift was in the building.
True. That's definitely true.
I agree as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course. Of course.
Mike
Actually,
Lombardi.
no, because Ryan Reynolds was in the building. You know.
Yeah, poor Ryan Reynolds.
Starstruck.
I didn't even know that was his chick, Blake Lively, who's a
Why
great
did you
actress.
say like that?
What?
His wife.
Sorry.
The mother of his children.
Oh, jeez.
Respect.
Hey.
Good God.
All I know is I didn't recognize her.
Yeah, my brother didn't either.
And I'm pretty good at this.
He did, yeah. He's like, oh, Blake Lively. I like Blake Lively.
Blake.
I was like, oh, there she is next to Taylor. He's like, no, that's not Blake Lively.
I couldn't believe that was her. I was like, that's Blake Lively. I just want to say this true story about Blake Lively. When I met my wife way back in the day, one of the first.
Oh, why is she your wife? Why didn't you call her what you just called Blake Lively? Yeah, see, that doesn't sound right, does it? It sounds a little disrespectful to your wife, doesn't it? What if you said that to your wife? What do you think your wife would have said? Excuse me? I'm your what?
No, yeah, she'd be all right with it.
Would she?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Like every once in a while, I didn't mean it like any disrespect. Yeah,
I don't know. It felt like you did.
No, not at all. I mean,
I don't know if you felt it. It just, she's a
chick.
Highly respected actress.
Yes, she is. But
a little respect on Blake Lively's name.
Let me go ahead and continue to dig this hole a little bit deeper because in the beginning of my relationship, the dumb questions, you're always throwing it out there.
Oh, was that your one?
Correct.
Wow,
if there was one out, no, not mine. No. I think the question was like, if there's ever like, a girl out there that you would be interested in, and she said Blake Lively. So that's why she's always in my mind. I'll love and respect to Blake Lively. She's a really good actress, right? She was in The Town. Was she in The Town?
Yeah, she was in The Town.
She was the smackhead.
Yeah, that's a great
She
film.
played a great role in that. Come on, you're a movie guy. What else was she in?
I'm sure in a bunch of movies that I probably have not watched.
I get her confused with Jennifer Lawrence. I love her.
How do you get her confused with Jennifer Lawrence? They look nothing alike.
Not that, just their movies. They're great actresses. They're in those movies.
How do you get them?
I'm not a movie guy.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
I don't know that one.
How do you not know that one?
I never watched it.
It's a good flick.
Yeah, it sounds real.
She was
good.
an Accepted. That's right.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Town's a great one though.
Town's
so good.
Town's tremendous, man. Great flick. All right, other side. Let's continue with the NFL. Let's talk about the duds, the right plays, including 65-1. John Jansen on Countdown to Payout.
Look at me.
Calls out the first touchdown score in the 1 o'clock.
I didn't lose a bet yesterday.
Gabe Davis. Fantastic. Nice work. We'll go over the wins and losses, the plays that I wish I could do over again. Not that bad of a day, but at the end, I pushed it all in on Kelsey, and that didn't work out. That was a dumb play. Oh, well. I mean, look, it was 17-0. I'm just thinking that this is going to be 40-7 like the Bears game.
I know.
It was the safety.
I was looking for any excuse to turn that game off after the first quarter, and the Chiefs gave it to me. And when I read and watched everything that happened once I was done watching the movie that I watched, stunned.
Yeah.
I mean, what a weird game.
It all went downhill after the safety. The safety was the change of the game. And the next thing you know, I don't know. But
next thing you know, Zach Wilson's throwing dimes left and right.
I have an issue with all this Zach Wilson praise and the coddling.
Well,
you could save it because we got to take a time out. Not just you, everybody. It's the daily ticket.
Coddling.
My goodness. He's a number 2 overall pick.
Can't you just
treat him as such?
Can't you just feel a little empathy for the guy?
No.
Oh. Okay.
You know what his bank account looks like? He's playing professional football.
I know, that's great, but
that's his job.
It's a kid that certainly is feeling it.
Oh, come on.
I don't know, man. I can show some empathy at times to players like that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's okay.
He's going through it. He's 24 years old. He's got the world by the balls.
But does he feel that way?
He's an NFL quarterback.
Look at what happened yesterday. He fumbles after having a great game, because he did have a great game.
Yeah.
And he fumbles, and he takes all the responsibility and all the he looks so dejected.
He should take the responsibility. He's the quarterback, but he's been atrocious. And you get Rodney Harrison, who was a little over the top, but at the end of the day, are you telling me that
little over the top?
Wait, you telling me that we weren't saying Zach Wilson was garbage on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, on Monday?
I love Rodney Harrison. Does my favorite thing in the world. Man, Zach Wilson, he is missing wide open receivers in warmups right now on 7-on-7s. And what did Zach Wilson do? Have one of the best games of his career in that game. Thank you, Rodney Harrison, for the wonderful insight on his 7-on-7 drills. Thank you, Rodney Harrison.
Yeah, Rodney Harrison isn't
great
there
reporting,
for
Rodney Harrison. Very well done.
Rodney Harrison was a hell of a ball player. And
great. He's terrible on TV.
NBC, man, they're missing their mark with him and Sims, and Garrett. Like, you guys really struggling to hire people?
It's not the best.
No, it's not at all. All right, Daily Ticket rolling on. We're going to talk NFL. We'll mix in some Ryder Cup, some Phillies as well in a little bit. We got Gerald Colton at 4:35, maybe even a Sixers mention.
No. I'm not doing that.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm not doing that.
Back after this.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports
Listen
gambling.
up as the cash contest is returning for Q4. Starting on Monday, be sure to listen for the keyword at the top of every hour for your chance to win $1,000. That's 9 times a day. Hear the keyword and enter it on our website over at foxphlgambler.com, and you could win a cool grand. Once again, the cash contest presented by Harrah's Philadelphia Casino and Racetrack starts this Monday. Everyone could use a little inflation compensation, right? Well, win it here with us on The Gambler.
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for the power, performance, and reliability of a new Superstart battery. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in Philly. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. This is amazing stuff. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Listen, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call the local medical professionals and get a free consultation today. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there, and around there, and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's gonna be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
eBay Motors is here for the ride with the parts you need for the prices you want. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Staples Stores.
The biggest message of 76ers Media Day was sent by guard James Harden, who decided to skip today's event as he continues his efforts to get traded. 9 players were cut from the Flyers training camp roster today ahead of tonight's exhibition game against Boston. Most of them will start the season in the AHL. And an NFC showdown will close out week 4 of the NFL season tonight with Seattle visiting the Giants, who say that running back Saquon Barkley is a game-time decision. I'm JD Haffron.
At Staples, you can count on every print project being perfect. And now get $50 off your print order of $150 or more. Offer ends 10/14. Exclusions and restrictions apply. See an associate or visit staples.com/print for details. Perfect prints guaranteed at Staples.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Calling on the Boulevard southbound, 9th abroad with roadwork in the left lane. 95 southbound, heavy Walt Whitman abroad with a disabled vehicle in the left lane. Northbound, so Allegheny to Bridge. Westbound, Schuylkill Jan, University to Garden City to Belmont. Eastbound, Stopfield, Montgomery Drive to South. Totella total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. As the leaves change, leave the hiring to Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Stuck in that endless loop of deciding what to watch next? I want to be free. With Pluto TV, you can dive into over 250 channels dedicated to every genre and entertainment, from crime to action, drama, comedy, reality, and everything in between. Pluto TV is TV the way it should be. I want to be free. It's easy and it's free. Download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices and start watching now. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Major phone carriers make you sign contracts with rigid data plans to trap you into a kind of forced phonogamy. Sounds pretty insecure if you ask me. At Consumer Cellular, we believe in a more consensual and healthy form of phonogamy, free of contracts and more flexible to your data needs. This way, you stick around not because we force you to with contracts and fees, but because you love our phone plans. Like ardently love our phone plans. Phonogamously. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
You have HIV and need a safe, stable place to live. You need a refrigerator to store fresh food and medication. AIDS Walk Philly supports thousands of our most vulnerable friends, family, and neighbors using funds raised from the 5K Walk. You can help in the fight against HIV by registering for the 37th Annual AIDS Walk Philly on Sunday, October 15th. Go to AIDSWalkPhilly.org.
Your home for Villanova basketball is WDAS and WD273D. Fox Sports Radio Philadelphia.
Breaking news in the world of Major League Baseball that could have a huge effect on especially the National League side of things.
Yes, Taylor Swift will not be at Citizens Bank Park tonight.
Brandon Woodruff from the Milwaukee Brewers reportedly will not be available for the wild card series and could miss more. Will not be available for the wild card series against the Arizona Diamondbacks that gets started tomorrow with Game 1 in Milwaukee. Corbin Burns getting the start. Now, to be honest with you, I don't really remember this being on my radar all that much. Now, his last start was on the 23rd. The one thing we know about the Brew Crew is, yeah, they're nasty as far as starters are concerned. And Woodruff and Burns are at the top of that list. They're the reason why we would say it. Now, he pitched on the 23rd, and that was his last start. And apparently they wanted to keep him out to get him rested and ready to go for the playoffs. But, of course, there was something else happening there.
Yeah,
I
so
did not know that.
He didn't play most of the season, got hurt early on after a second start in April. Came back in August, and he looked great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 2.28 ERA in that time, 5-1 record, a whip of under 1. Like Woodruff, I mean, that is a huge piece to be getting late in the season and him playing that well. I mean, because that's all Milwaukee has. Milwaukee does not have a lineup whatsoever, but their pitching is good enough that it could have carried them, wild card win and I don't know if they would have beaten the Dodgers, but at least it gives them a chance. Now, I mean, no shot. I don't think they have any chance without one of their top of the line starter or one of their best starters. I just can't see
to pitch to beat the Dodgers in the next round.
The Dodgers, and it's going to be really tough to beat Arizona. It will be.
Yeah, that they were number 1 in the National League as far as ERA is concerned, 3.71.
Jeez.
Wins, they had 92 wins, only behind the Braves and Dodgers as far as starting pitching is concerned. Decent bullpen. We know that much about the Brew Crew, but it starts and ends with them in my mind with that 1-2 punch, but not going to be the case. So that is a big time deal. Burns is minus 180 in game 1 tomorrow, 7:08 first pitch against the Diamondbacks. I'll tell you what, 7.5 is the number in that one. The only thing that's jumping off at me is the under. I would take every under in every one of those games between those two.
Yeah, I expect Arizona's lineup to be a little bit tight heading to this one. Not a lot of playoff experience there, and their lineup's not that great to begin with. It's certainly better than Milwaukee's. Milwaukee's lineup is terrible. But yeah, that that series does not scream runs. I'll tell you that.
Couple plays that I discussed with Luke a little earlier today, Arcani and Arcani Luke on socials, and I said that I would take a flyer on the Phillies over Orioles at 40-1 and Phillies over Blue Jays at 80-1. That's the exact.
You're that confident in the Baltimore Orioles?
Where do you stand on the American League side?
It's a good question.
That's my point.
Because that would be the point. And it's a good point to make, is that I don't know how to sort out the American League. I don't think there is a proper way to do that.
I know the Rangers screwed up by not winning that last game and winning the division, because now they got to go on the road to Minnesota, and Houston's relaxing. That was a terrible move. And some are saying it's the fact that because they partied after they clinched.
At least they get to take on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Pablo Lopez has been up and down, so that could be a tough one. He's starting the first game. I imagine Sonny Gray is going to start the second. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch. But other than that, Minnesota doesn't have much.
No, the Rangers are going to Tampa Bay.
Oh, they're going to Tampa
Bay. Correct.
Oh, okay.
Jordan Montgomery and Tyler Glass now game 1 there. Blue Jays and Twins. I love the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Texas, Tampa. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's rough.
That's
Toronto's taking on Minnesota, which do you trust Toronto?
Not really, but I definitely don't trust Minnesota.
You don't trust
either.
Minnesota?
No.
Fair. Very fair.
Not really.
Not a lot of playoff success lately. It's just I do like that starting pitching staff.
18 straight.
That was a team that I thought, they don't have to look amazing in the regular season because, their lineup isn't the best, but they still have some good bats in that lineup, and that could be enough because their starting pitching's good. Now, I said that, and then Pablo Lopez has this incredible roller coaster year where he looks like a Cy Young 1 month, and then the other month he looks like he can't get anybody out. So it was kind of all over the place. And so I don't know if I can count on Pablo Lopez being that good of a player. I mean, there's some decent bats in that lineup, though, that have some pop, have some playoff experience, even though Carlos Correa wasn't really that good this year. Still playoff experience at any point. I think he could play well. But yeah, I mean, the firepower certainly is on Toronto's side.
Yeah. They split 3-3 throughout the course of the season.
Oh, there you go.
It's tough to factor that in. You have to put it out there.
Yeah.
But
you do, because for the Phillies and Marlins, the Marlins won the series in the regular
7 out of
season.
13, or right?
Yep.
7 out of 13.
7 out of 13.
But Marlins and Phillies are a different discussion. These two teams played back in May and June.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a whole
I'd say a
ball.
little bit different.
Injuries are definitely there for the Marlins. We'll see what happens there, but looking forward to it, man. Can't wait for the Major League Baseball playoffs to get started, of course, with the Phillies and Marlins. And just a quick one on that one, 8:08 first pitch. Wheeler on DraftKings Sportsbook minus 166. Luzardo is pretty damn good. At least I could say that they don't have Alcantara, which is great, right? Could you imagine going up against 1-2 like that? That those are two pitchers that can come down and shut you out. But I like Wheeler. I like the Phillies lineup. I don't think Luzardo. That's all they have. The Marlins have 2 starters, and that's it. If you can just beat up and get them to their bullpen, they're in trouble, and that's where bad things are going to happen for them here.
Yeah, and for the Phillies, it's always just home cooking. The fact that they're at Citizens Bank Park for both games, they are so much better at home than they are on the road. Especially, I mean, there's only really one guy that played better on the road this year, I think, and that was JT Realmuto, who had these egregious splits between home and the road. But Zach Wheeler's fantastic. We saw last year Zach Wheeler's fantastic in the playoffs, and I don't think there's anything to worry there. Aaron Nola, way better at home than on the road. A much, much better home player. So I think there is a little bit to that. The Phillies on paper are better. Phillies, I would say, even has better pitching. I like Luzardo and Braxton, but are they really better than Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola? Then on the other side of that, the lineup's just way too overpowering for the Marlins. I think the Phillies just look too good on paper. Good situation at Citizens Bank Park. They play well at home. There's just not many things I can see going wrong other than the Phillies lineup just going completely cold, which is a tough thing for me to see.
I agree, and I don't think that will happen, but we are talking about two lefties, two crafty lefties. Anything is possible, but even then...
that's the thing. Anything in baseball is possible because all it's going to take is for the Marlins to get a couple of lucky hits, whether that's soft contact, infield singles, soft contact to the outfield, whatever the case may be. It'll just take a lucky couple of hits, and for the Phil's bats go cold, and the Marlins are winning this series. It's baseball. It can happen. We've seen the Phillies go cold. I don't know if I can see it in the playoffs because, again, I think we've seen these guys in the playoffs, especially Harper and Nick Castellanos, I thought had a decent playoff too. I mean, we've seen these guys come up with huge hits in the playoffs.
Yeah, there are many players that we can go back and discuss that, had some big games that came out of nowhere, whether it's the Giants when they knocked off the Phillies during that run, or the Cardinals when they knocked off the Phillies in that run. You get these guys that come out of nowhere, and this is the moments where they make the names for themselves. But I got confidence in the bullpen. I have confidence in the starters to a point. Nola, we'll see. It depends what Nola you get.
Why are you confident in the bullpen? I will ask that.
Because the names. I mean, you're talking about a bullpen by committee that they're absolutely a strength of this team right now, right? I mean, you'd have to say. I mean, it's because you can mix it up. There's
that's
many.
That's what I like. I think, to me, that's the most interesting part of how all this is going to play out in the playoffs, because there's no set roles. There aren't anymore for these guys, but a lot of these guys were hurt. And we haven't been seeing the best out of Dominguez and Alvarado this season, even though I think by the time we got to the end of the year and the last week or so, I thought both of them started to look really good. But, Kimbrel's not pitching well. I think you're going to have to use some of the starting pitching arms like Christopher Sanchez and Michael Lorenzen and add that to the mix. And then you have this rookie that they really want to use, which I'm fine with because the kid's got heck of an arm. The arm talent is insane on this kid. So I like the pieces. I'm just not sure and questioning how Rob Thompson's going to figure out how to use it all.
Kimbrel, Soto, Alvarado, Hoffman, Strahm, Dominguez, like you brought up with the young, the hell is his name? Orion. Yeah, there you go.
Don't ask me how to say it.
Again, we don't know what the mix will be and how they'll be used.
Right.
But
that's just it's not a concern. It's just I'm intrigued at how that all plays out.
If you get the best of those guys, we know what they're capable of. Starting with of course Alvarado, Kimbrel. I don't really have all that much confidence in, but I do in Hoffman. Look, and as you pointed out with some of those starters, they'll come back down to the bullpen. So I think it's a strength for this team. We'll find out. They're going to have to play well. They're going to have to pitch well if they're going to advance, because starters aren't going 9 innings in playoff baseball. That's just not how it works.
And also, I wonder how they handle the rotation, because Walker hasn't been sharp. I think it's the 3 are set. It's going to be Wheeler, Nola, Suarez.
Correct.
As the first 3.
Yeah.
And last year they used Syndergaard essentially as an opener. Just, hey, get us at least an inning or 2, and if you can get us 3, fine, we'll try and extend you 3. I mean, do they do that with Christopher Sanchez? They, instead of trying to have him go out there 5-6 innings, do they go, hey, give us your best 2-3 innings and we'll go to the bullpen after that? Because, I mean, they're going to have a lot of arms now that it's not going to be a full 5-man starting rotation. I just wonder how they're going to play that 4th spot, because last year that was the toughest part for them, because they didn't have a 4th starter. It was one of the things I think they needed to get better at, and Syndergaard just wasn't the right answer for that. And they get Syndergaard and they have to use him as an opener. Do they do something similar with Sanchez? I'd be interested. Obviously, we're not going to see that in the wild card because it's only 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something, later down the road, I'm sure will come up. But yeah, for this series, I mean, Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, I feel comfortable and confident with all 3 of them. And yes, Brace, you heard me. I feel confident in Aaron Nola. Confident.
I'm not.
I'm confident.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see him. I'm not. going to sit here and tell you that he's going to go out there and mow them down, and I won't be surprised if he does. I won't be surprised if he's in there for 3 innings and he gives up 4 runs.
Don't say that.
Right? Like but if you get the best of Aaron Nola, watch out.
And he's best at home. So he's better here at Citizens Bank Park. It's been like that all year. And I think his stuff has been sharp lately. Like I know the home runs are still there, and it's just that's the hope for every Aaron Nola start now. You just hope the 1 or 2 home runs he gives up aren't for big, game opening home runs. Like it's not 3, a 3-run home run, 2-run home run. It's just maybe a couple of solo shots, and you go out of there with, just a few scratches instead of a big old wound if there's a 3-run home run or, God forbid, a grand slam.
All right. Let's get it back over to football here. And wow, Mike Tirico was a guest on Dan Patrick earlier today. I didn't have an opportunity to listen to that, but I would. The approach to broadcast the Taylor Swift at the Chiefs game. It wasn't the Chiefs game that Taylor Swift was at. It was quite the opposite. Again, I didn't agree.
No,
with
there
that.
just so happened to be a football game being played where Taylor Swift was at.
Correct.
That's what it was.
Oh, all right. Now let's talk a little bit about. First of all, we have a game tonight. Any vibe, any play for the Giants and Seahawks? Let's fire up DraftKings Sportsbook. Take a peek.
Better be asking yourself that question.
What that number is? I like the Seahawks. The Giants are god awful. You gotta like the Seahawks, but the Seahawks are kind of Jekyll and Hyde for me as well.
Yeah,
2.5.
Inconsistent team. And you know what, Jared Lee Smith, as you call him, he had this great tweet. There's a lot of talk now about Daniel Jones and primetime numbers, and that there's a trend that Daniel Jones is just not doing well in primetime. But there has to be so much context added to that, because most of that was during the Joe Judge era, which was not good.
Yeah.
So I just don't know if I could take trends, especially those, trends that you're taking, a few years now with Daniel Jones. If there's something last year that you see, early on this year, fine. And obviously, I don't think the Giants have looked the best this year, but it's not enough to make me, stay away from the Giants just because Daniel Jones is good in prime time.
Well, no, what I'm staying away from the Giants is the fact that they are god awful. And we watched them last Thursday against the 49ers. Like, what else? What changed in the last week? I know the Niners are great, but come on, man. It's just an atrocious offense. They can't get anything going. Who are they throwing the football to? Defense, they stink as well. It's just like, I have no idea how this team got worse. They got worse. And it has nothing to do with Saquon Barkley being hurt for me. It just doesn't. Like, even if Saquon is in there, I still don't think that this team is going to change their stripes.
No, I mean, their offense would look better.
Man, they have.
Saquon is their offense.
They went out, get a high-priced tight end, don't throw him the football. Even if they do, he's nothing special. Receivers, who are they?
I think he's a really good talent. It's just your quarterback's not special.
Your
quarterback's just not good. And they gave him a bunch of money, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the worst thing to happen to them is they basically coddle Daniel Jones for most of the season, really doesn't put himself into any bad situations, or at least Brian Dable didn't put himself into any bad spots. Saquon Barkley is the one who doesn't get paid, takes the entire workload, and is the guy that essentially is the entire team. And now they're paying for it because Daniel Jones is a bad quarterback, and that's all they got.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, from that perspective, this is a stay away.
Yep. I want nothing to do with it.
If you made me make a play, of course I'm going Seahawks. But
I don't trust them, though.
This is a stay away. This is a Monday Night Football. Maybe I'll watch.
I don't need to chase. I had a clean sweep yesterday.
Oh, did ya?
No need to chase. Did I mention that already today?
No.
Have I mentioned that a few times?
I did not hear this. What was the clean sweep?
I had Jacksonville, Baltimore, and Buffalo.
Look at you.
Look at me.
Oh.
Thank you.
Nice work.
And I called the first touchdown.
Yeah, you did.
For Gabe Davis.
That's a hell of a call right there.
I was on it yesterday.
All right.
I was cooking like Jalen Hurts yesterday.
Speaking of yesterday,
darts all over the place.
Let's go down the list here. Jags ended up beating the Falcons. Falcons are atrocious. That's another team that's in a world of trouble if they don't get a quarterback. That's all they're missing, though, if we're honest with ourselves, right? But that's not going to happen.
Because everything else I think would be fixed, essentially.
Bijan's a beast, but main takeaway is the Jags handle business on the road in London.
I don't even think beast is a proper way to describe Bijan Robinson. He's a cyborg. And
yeah.
I've just, man, that talent is insane.
Speaking of talent on both sides, the Bills ended up lumping the Dolphins 48-20. Is Mike McDaniel's job safe? Is his job safe? Let me ask you that. Yeah. Diggs 6 catches, 120. Really good job there. 324 touchdowns for Josh Allen. Dolphins put up points.
Josh Allen was flawless.
Yeah.
Absolutely flawless.
Yeah,
yesterday.
those MVP tickets I told you to rip up, tape them back. Tape them back immediately. Broncos and Bears, and someone's got to win the game. How about the Broncos were 3-point favorites, and they come back in the second half? What did they score? 24 unanswered, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, they had 24 in the second half. 24 points in the second half.
Justin Fields, though, good game. 335, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Just an atrocious game, but fun game if you really didn't have any action. I had to sit back and
I
enjoy.
don't know if it was fun.
Ravens smacked the Browns, but the Browns were without Deshaun Watson. Here's the issue that I have. If the Browns are supposed to be good, right, and they got this great defense, how could you not come up with a game plan that would at least make the game tight? Ravens went in, and that game was over at halftime. It was 21-3, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I don't think you have any answers when Nick Chubb's out and you have to go to a backup quarterback. You know, I was interested to see DTR, good quarterback UCLA, some intriguing physical tools, but obviously he's a rookie quarterback in a division game against the Ravens defense, so that didn't go well. But I think the story to me is Lamar just continues to look great, barring some maybe not so great plays in that Indianapolis game. I mean, he's dealing with no wide receiver. I mean, Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. It's not like he has nothing, so I can't say that. But they are dealing with a bunch of injuries on offense, and he just continues to carry the load and is the best player on the field almost at all times. He had a great game yesterday. Really good.
All right. Let's see here. Keeping it moving as far as the scores from yesterday. Yeah, surprising one. Probably the Bengals and how atrocious they looked yesterday. 27 points put up by the Titans, which was a pedestrian offense at best through 3 games. They now are 2-2, and I am now 0-2 betting against them at home. Shame on me. Derrick Henry, though, is an absolute beast. Still has it. 22 carries.
Yes, he does.
122.
He was excellent.
Yep.
But I think everything's about Cincinnati. I mean, they were in a bad spot last year. So if they win next week, which I don't think is I don't think any game's easy for Cincinnati right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say any game's easy, but I don't think it's a tough game next week. If they end up winning next week, they will have the same record through 5 games that they did last year. They started the season last year 2-3, and they ended up doing very well in getting to an AFC Championship game.
Burrow's banged up, though. That's the issue so far.
That's the only thing that's different. And once you see Joe Burrow, who is an elite quarterback, the best of the best, and I think has carried them for the last 2 years, once he is not even a little bit himself, Zach Taylor's not good. This team's not good. Like, everything falls apart because Joe Burrow has been playing that well. And of course, I think his wide receivers too, but you take away Joe Burrow, you're obviously taking away their wide receivers. Like, it's a tandem working together there. And once one piece of that fails, the other one's going to. So you're taking the 2 best things, wide receivers and quarterback, essentially out of the game. They have nothing. They have a bad offensive line. They can't run the ball. Their defense stinks. Defense gave up a ton of yards on the ground. And now I think there is panic mode. And Zach Taylor's not good enough of a coach to make up for any of it. He is a bad head coach, and all he's done is getting carried by Joe Burrow. And I'm tired of pretending like Cincinnati's so good all the time, or that Cincinnati, that Zach Taylor's a great coach. He's gotten in the AFC championships and a Super Bowl.
Yes.
It is Joe Burrow and those wide receivers that continue to bail out Cincinnati, and they're probably going to do it again this year. And everybody's going to go, oh, well, look, Zach Taylor again in Cincinnati. No. Zach Taylor has nothing to do with it.
No,
this is what Zach Taylor is.
I don't see that
This
happening.
is what Zach Taylor is. He's a bad coach.
Yeah, I don't see that happening this year. I think they got too much.
I think I think you're right. I think it's in jeopardy just because of Burrow's health.
Correct. The Rams and Colts, surprising, entertaining game, 29-23. Anthony Richardson did score a touchdown. That was one of my favorite props yesterday.
Yeah, he made a couple of nice throws too.
Williams, though, backfield, and again, the Rams on the docket for the Eagles next week in LA, 4.5-point dogs at home. Any interest in that one for you as far as the Rams are concerned? Catch them 4.5.
Well, if the Eagles aren't going to get to the quarterback and their secondary is still banged up, this is not the best matchup, I think, to be going against right now.
But Williams won't be that effective, in my opinion.
Williams won't. Matthew Stafford's been on it, though, this year. He's been excellent. Really the game against Cincinnati probably wasn't his best, and still ended up doing pretty well and gave him a chance to win that game. San Francisco, he had over 300 yards against, a couple of interceptions, but it's San Francisco's defense. And San Francisco's defense at this point, because of injuries, I would say, better than the Eagles. I mean, this passing offense has been on the money for Los Angeles, and a lot of that, I think, just comes down to, A, McVay's an incredible play caller, and B, Matthew Stafford's just looked great.
And
he's throwing darts everywhere.
Williams and Puka out of
Puka
nowhere.
Nacua. Yeah.
Both of them out of nowhere. Just, I mean, what the hell? Like, these, wasn't that the franchise said F them picks? You know, and then all of a sudden they land up with these two guys.
Yeah, and Puka's been great. A lot of it is, I think, McVay and Stafford. Like, McVay and Stafford are just so good.
Well,
I mean, the kid can play.
Come
like,
on,
no doubt.
man.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
Williams
No doubt the kid can play.
Williams on
Williams been
fire.
great.
He's scored a
Williams been
touchdown
great
every
running the
game
ball.
except for one. And Puka's been unbelievable to the point that they're targeting him 20 times. He's
I
getting
know,
15 catches.
But I just, and Puka's good.
So is Chase, Jamar Chase. So
But
is
I think a
look
lot
on the list. There's great receivers everywhere, but they don't end up with that many catches.
But Puka Nacua is not Jamar Chase. Like, Puka Nacua is not like amazing. I think it's a guy that right now is capitalizing off Matthew Stafford playing extremely well.
Oh, man.
It's not because a lot of what he's doing is he's just beating zone, and Matthew Stafford's just making right reads.
All right.
And essentially, Puka Nacua is just in the right spots, which credit to him. He's running correct routes, and he's where he's supposed to be on the play. But a lot of it to me is just Matthew Stafford.
All right.
Matthew Stafford has been unbelievable.
Sounds like you're taking the Rams next week. Anyways, moving on.
I would just say be careful.
Bucks 26-9 over the Saints. Nobody cares. Let's move off of
Baker
that.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's great.
Vikings and Panthers. Vikings tried to lose the game. They finally get off the schneid with a victory there. Justin Jefferson, 2 touchdowns. The surprise team so far in the NFL, the Houston Texans, 2-2 with a lumping over the Pittsburgh Steelers, 30-6. CJ Stroud with another 300-yard game. It's going to be really tough competition for that offensive rookie of the year. Pierce ended up getting the end zone, I believe. Collins ended up with 2 touchdowns. That's right. Pierce
Nico,
called back. To the evening slate or the 4 o'clock card, it wasn't good. Chargers ended up covering the number, beating up on a bad Raiders team. Not really an impressive Chargers victory by no means. Cowboys lumped up the Patriots 38-3. That was impressive from the standpoint of it's never been done before to Belichick like that. But come on, man, the Patriots are god awful. Niners covered the number. Christian McCaffrey with 4 touchdowns. He could very well be the front runner for the MVP, probably is, through 4 weeks. And then finally the Chiefs ended up sneaking out of MetLife.
So this conversation is never going to happen because we all know what New England is going to do.
Yes.
But in terms of what they should do,
don't say it.
Bill Belichick should absolutely be in the hot seat.
Don't say it.
100% should be on the hot seat.
Don't say it.
100%. Awful GM. Now his teams are getting boat raced. They're getting boat raced in these games. It's a terrible roster, and it's all Bill Belichick's fault for that.
Yeah.
And then you could say, well, his X's and O's on the field are good. He's getting boat raced now. So I can't even say that he can coach so well that they can outperform his bad picks. They're not even doing that anymore.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's horrible.
He's never getting fired.
No.
So,
I agree.
never.
He should, though.
And he should never get fired.
He should.
No. You give him the opportunity to walk away with the admiration that he deserved. One of the most successful
That's
coaches
great. He should at the
NFL
end of the
history.
year, understand, hey, this isn't working out.
Could very well.
I could just
wouldn't you?
walk away.
I would bet against it, but could very well be the case.
But that doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen with Bill.
Yeah.
He's stubborn.
He knows
he's
where
really
the
stubborn.
bodies are buried too in that organization. He gets to go wherever he wants. Whenever he wants, that's when he'll go.
I mean, who's to say he's not the one burying those bodies? Jeez.
Could very well be the case. That's the Patriot way, right?
The Patriot way. And when we say burying things, we mean burying all the tapes that they have of practices of all these things. Yeah.
And bodies. Daily Ticket rolling on. Allegedly, I kid. Well, that was the organization that did draft Hernandez.
Get us to break.
Yeah.
Get us
Coming
to break.
up next, Gerald Colton. Perfect segue. We're going to hit on it all.
Because we're going to need a lawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
gonna talk about it all. The Sixers, the Phillies, the Eagles, all that and more. Maybe even some Flyers and Wings talk. Daily Ticket back with this.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports gambling. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
For 10th on the Schuylkill, westbound University Teacher Bar and Boulevard to Belmont, eastbound Blue Route to Belmont, And Montgomery Drive to south, combined expressway westbound backed up Parkway to the Schuylkill merge. 95 northbound heavy Commodore Barry to the Bluebird. Then further north, stop and go Girard up to Bridge Street. Southbound 95 heavy Walt Whitman to the upside of the Girard Point Bridge. Bluebird northbound, so 95 past McDaden, southbound, so approaching Route 1 to Media Swarthmore. 42 south delays Walt Whitman to Creek Road. Total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
Are you a business owner, CEO, or responsible for marketing? If you are, iHeartMedia can help you reach your goals and find new customers. We reach more consumers in your target area than anyone else, and we can give you access to those potential customers more cost-effectively across radio, digital, podcasting, and social. We'd love to show you how iHeartMedia can work for you. Get started today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there, and around there, and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Today's news requires more facts, more context, and more analysis. The world's never been harder to understand. That's why it's never been more important to try. MSNBC. Understand more.
The future of joint pain relief is right here in Philly. It's QC Kinetics, advanced regenerative medicine. This is amazing stuff. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain. I'm talking lasting relief. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Listen, life is about motion, and QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with these all-natural treatments. Call the local medical professionals and get a free consultation today. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. Call 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This season, your coffee orders are getting warmer and your outfits are getting cozier. The world keeps changing, and so does COVID-19. That's why this season's COVID-19 shots have been updated. They're one of the best ways to help protect yourself against COVID-19. You can get a COVID-19 shot at the same visit as a flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Talk to your healthcare provider to learn more and schedule at vaccines.gov. And don't forget to get extra cinnamon spice. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. We are live on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. It is the Daily Ticket. Did my voice just crack? I think it did.
I think it did.
Yeah, it did a little bit there. Just to let you know, though, if you miss anything live, you can catch it all over on our website at foxphlgambler.com. And, folks, just to let you know, the Road Warriors roll on. This Thursday, we will be live at the Trap Tavern in Trap, PA. If you live in Collegeville, Royersford, Limerick, any of those other places out there that probably I can't pronounce.
Geography.
Stop on out, please. We'll be live for Thursday Night Football and hopefully not a game 3. hopefully not a game 3 between the Phillies and Marlins. But if we are, so be it.
I mean, if there just so happens to be.
If there happens to be a game, that's the place to be. We'll be hanging out with all of our friends from Miller Lite. We'll be live streaming on our YouTube channel, watching Thursday Night Football, having some fun. And, oh, yeah, by the way, we're all going to be out there for a really special giveaway courtesy of our friends from Miller Lite and the Philadelphia Eagles. A trip to the Commanders and Eagles road game. Yeah, let's run it back down in D.C. So stop on out on Thursday, Trap Tavern, PA. All right, let's head out to the Gambler Hotline. And this gentleman is all over the place, man. I'm sure his calendar's filled up for this upcoming week as we got playoff baseball, we got Eagles games, we got shows to announce. And it's our good friend Gerald Colton who joins us every single Monday here on the Daily Ticket. And good afternoon, Gerald. The Eagles improved to 4-0. The Phillies are about to embark on another Red October. Life is good.
It sure is. Happy Victory Monday. And I'm just so excited for playoff baseball again.
Well, I want to start with you, Joel Embiid. And no, I kid. James Harden. Yeah, we'll mix that in.
We got to talk 60.
We will. We will. Let's open up with the Eagles.
Yeah,
though.
the great question of where is James Harden?
Where do you
think he is? Right
He's
now?
going to show up. 4-0.
Do you think he's in Houston?
Probably.
Yeah, probably in Houston.
Just check Instagram. It's on there. 4-0 Eagles, but not the easiest game. But again, we're talking about a team that came up here and beat them, division opponent. Nobody knows you better. Your main takeaway from yesterday's win over the Commanders was what, Gerald?
I mean, it is what you just said. It's just that they're 4-0, that Jalen played his best game, and they've survived the first 4 games of the season. We talked about it. You don't win the Super Bowl in September, October, but you can lose it, and they're 4-0, relatively healthy, and for the most part, good signs, especially on the offensive side of the ball. There's some concern on the defensive side. John, you point out earlier that they didn't really get to how, and the interesting part was they had 5 sacks, 3 of them by Morrow, who's one of the great surprises. How they picked up basically Cunningham and Morrow late, and they both seemingly played well and fall into a rhythm now. But it didn't seem like they were putting that kind of pressure on them, yet the stats say otherwise. But I think probably the biggest problem I see with the defense, and it's just the early stages, maybe with a new coordinator, but it's some of the same problems we've had before. It's just playing a little bit too soft. And, they lost Avonte Maddox, so they've shifted Bradbury to the slot. And I think the guys filling in there and, bringing in the Edmonds at safety didn't bode great yesterday. And they just gave up too much passing yardage to Al. But otherwise, for the most part, I'll take the victory. I'll take the resiliency of, you wind up in overtime. I was really, really happy to see Washington's kicking team come on the field after they got within 1 point with no time on the clock. I was really both shocked and happy to see that because I thought they were going to go for 2 and the game would come down for that. But all in all, a victory and a beautiful day out at Lincoln.
Yeah, we were watching the game together. We were definitely surprised that they were not going for 2, and I think Jansen and I both said we would go.
Oh, they have to go for 2.
But Ron Rivera said that they were all gassed. But I mean, weren't the Eagles gassed too?
Which is a decent point, but I
mean, weren't the Eagles gassed too?
But just make one final play. I know they might be gassed because they had to quickly get down the field, but
I know I would have went for it.
And it's to your offense's advantage generally if both are gassed. The defense is. I was shocked by it, happy with it, and maybe one of the big factors that we're 4-0 today instead of 3-1.
All right. Well, next up for the Birds is a tough game against the LA Rams, who are surprising a lot of people with the yards they're throwing up and, of course, the numbers. Impressive victory against the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Eagles are a much better team than the Colts, but right now that's a defense that's pretty banged up, especially in the secondary. How concerned right now, a week to go, 4.5-point favorites in LA, got to travel across the country. How concerned are you about that game? Because, again, we all have it in as a dub. We all have this team 6-0. There's not one person I talked to that said this team would not be 6-0. So how concerned are you right now, Gerald, a week out from that game?
I wouldn't say that the term is concerned, but it's a tough test for them. And you want to see them pass these tough tests, traveling cross country, playing on the road against a team that's playing probably better than was anticipated from them. And Stafford's looking good. And of course, they'll always cause you a problem with Donald and other things on the defensive side. So this game, I don't believe was ever going to be easy. And I'm okay with that because you got to pass certain tests along the way. But I wouldn't say it's concerned. I do believe the Eagles are a better team. They should go out there and win. But would this be a shocker if this is one of the losses along the way? It wouldn't be. But I just like it as a test. And so far they passed their test. Maybe not with flying colors, but they passed them all. So this is a good one. Go out west. We are still looking at a conference where you think that the 49ers are their biggest challenge, and Dallas bounced back yesterday and looked good. But I don't think the Rams will be there in the end, but they're certainly there next week. And I just think it's a good challenge for the Eagles at this point.
So do I. And we're all looking forward to it. Of course, it'll be another game, but a definitely interesting game with what is hurting right now from the Eagles' perspective and what the strengths are for the Rams. But
who's this Kuna Matata?
Yeah, man, Puka. He is the real deal. A shame that you got C.J. Stroud and a couple other rookies out there doing big things like Bijan Robinson. But man,
I know
his name's got to be in the mix.
Like having one of the best starts to a rookie career ever, wide receiver, and he's just not even.
And Williams is as well. Again, this is a team that said "F them picks" literally and had T-shirts printing out, and now they're hitting home runs like this. Williams is a beast, and Puka's no joke as well. So it's gonna be a tough test. Gerald, let's get up.
He's got 39 catches for 501 yards. Like,
talk about the targets. The targets. Look at the targets. They're throwing his ball his way every time. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Go ahead.
All right, over to the Phillies. Let's go.
Yeah, bring it on.
Taking on the Marlins, a team that they basically split with. I know the Marlins had the season advantage by one game over them, but where we're at right now, this is the first time that a lot of those players for the Marlins are going to taste playoff baseball coming into the jungle. 8:08 first pitch. The key for the Phillies to win game one. Let's focus on that. Game one tomorrow night. Zach Wheeler on the mound. What's the main key for you for the Phillies to come away with a win?
Well, guys, there's a bet I like for tomorrow night, and that's the Phillies money line after 5 innings. Like, to me, the key is to get that jump, to reestablish what they did last fall, that you can't come in here and beat this team, that we're going to have the fans behind us, and we're going to take you by the throat, and we're never going to let you go. And they're going with their ace, and when Schwarber hits a home run, they win to lead off a game. They win every time. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I would love to see them get that early jump. So the key to me is Wheeler doing what he's got to do, which is hopefully leaving with a lead after 6 innings or so. And the Phillies doing enough offensively to get up and then turn it over to the bullpen to win. But they clearly, you can't take any of these games lightly, and you really do have to win because don't forget, a year ago, we were happy to be in the playoffs, went out to St. Louis, looked like they were about to lose game one. I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, it's good to be in the playoffs, or we'll get them more. And they came back and had that, outstanding come from behind victory in the 9th inning. It is important to get a jump and to keep that momentum or set the tone and to keep the momentum going. So I would say the most important thing, get a jump and don't let it go.
Yeah, and look, we know the strengths for this Marlins team is easily we can point at the starting pitching. And Luzardo is a guy that I think could make life difficult, that lefty crafty approach. And has me concerned. But at the end of the day, man, if this team goes out there, the Phillies go out there and slug like we've come to know over the past 2 seasons, that's the reason why they're here. And if the bats go dead, then so be it. They're not going to win. They're not going to advance. And we can say that about any team. I don't care who they are. But like the Braves, perfect example. What we saw historically this year, as far as that lineup is concerned, putting their pitching woes to the side. If they don't hit, they're not advancing. And that's the same thing for the Phillies. I love the fact this is a home game. Citizens Bank Park is going to be on fire tomorrow. You going, Gerald?
What do you think?
Of course. Yeah. I'll be there for game 2.
Great. I'm the only one on this program right now that's not going to be there.
I'll be there for game 2, Gerald. If you will be down there, I'm sure you will.
I will be there. My plan is Willie and I will be there for every game. I'll be there with my sons, and we had such an incredible month of October and November last year.
Yep.
Hoping to repeat it and take that final step. But it all starts, with taking care of business against the Marlins and hopefully gaining that momentum, because obviously Atlanta is such a tough matchup if you get to that. And but I think it really helped last year having had that momentum from beating St. Louis while Atlanta was sitting idle. So you'd like to see the whole thing start again, and let's only go 2 games and not have to go 3 also.
All right, Gerald. Let me ask you one more before we get into one more off the cuff here conversation before we get into the 76ers. And the audience number was just released from NBC Sports. Did you watch last night's game between the Chiefs and the Jets, the Taylor Swift Bowl?
I did, and it was sickening. You guys have touched on it so much, and it really is. But it's the NFL, and they're going to take advantage of everything they can. And this Taylor Swift is otherworldly popular right now. I have talked over the years to the clients I've represented, and even had some experiences myself. We in the sports world think that everybody's paying attention to sports. The world revolves around sports and all that stuff. But that Taylor Swift is her superstardom dwarfs Travis Kelce in the NFL so much right now worldwide. So they're just really abusing it and taking advantage of it. It is sickening and annoying. I don't know if you remember when Tony Romo used to date Jessica Simpson and Carrie Underwood, and they would give some gratuitous shots. And any of those shots to me,
Giselle,
the owners, you're right. I mean, any of those get to be annoying, and they're certainly overplayed. This Taylor Swift thing is off the charts, it's off the chain. I don't agree with Lombardi's take, and I know Mike, I like them and respect them, that this is distracting from home. But I do believe that these things tend to backfire on you. Like all of a sudden, there's all this attention. I mean, I can't put on a TV without seeing Travis Kelce as part of something, whether it be a Chunky Soup commercial with Jason or whatever other commercials.
Just the Kelce's are everywhere.
He's got an agent, bro. I mean, Gerald, it's crazy to see Travis everywhere like this.
They are killing it, and God bless them. I've got nothing against it, but these things tend to backfire on you over the years. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a distraction, but too much can really become a problem sometimes.
The Chiefs and Jets was the most watched Sunday show since Super Bowl, averaging 27 million viewers.
But that's the thing that's crazy to me. It's like, I know Taylor Swift.
They won.
You're right. Taylor Swift does dwarf the NFL, but the NFL, it's not like they aren't pop culture. The Super Bowl is one of the most watched things in all of the world, and that's like the biggest pop culture event. Like everybody watches the Super Bowl. And so like I don't get how the NFL can just, the one pop culture celebrity comes in and then all of a sudden they can't even show their own game. That I think is, big in its own right. Like I don't know, it's not confident in like, hey, we can also, just show off our game to Taylor Swift's fan base and show them, hey, this is why 27 million people watch. Instead, they got to be,
John,
here's Taylor. Here's Taylor.
But don't forget, the NFL does make a big deal about its halftime entertainment and the Super Bowl commercials, because it's not that the football side appeals to everybody. So they're trying to get across the board appeal to everybody. And look, you and I, the three of us, we're watching for football. But there's a lot of people that aren't. I mean, the uptick in female viewership and interest in the NFL has been extreme over the last decade. And the two things people tell me is, one, fantasy football, and two, the tight pants. Listen, who am I to say? But whatever formula the NFL has, and now they're throwing in Taylor Swift. So now they're appealing to, look, Taylor Swift had 20,000 people outside the lake who couldn't get tickets to her concerts when she was here this summer. She sold $10 million worth of merchandise in 3 nights at the lake this summer. Her popularity is, I don't want to, this might be blasphemous, but it might be what Michael Jackson was at one point. It's that big It's that big right now. She's the biggest star in the world right now. And they're definitely capitalizing on it. And Kelce is now taking himself to a different level. I mean, I used to see it. Jari, he played with Reggie Bush, and Reggie Bush was dating Kim Kardashian. I would walk anywhere with Reggie Bush, and he was a rock star, and the women wanted to know him, and they had no idea that he was even a football player or cared about it. And that's kind of what Travis is probably experiencing now and will experience, no matter what happens with his relationship with her.
I mean, I guess is that the biggest celebrity, I guess, that is at a gate? Because we've seen a bunch of celebrities. That's the wild thing to me, is that everybody's like, oh my gosh, celebrities watching football? I was like, I guarantee you a lot of celebrities love football and they watch it and they go to games. Like why all of a sudden is Taylor Swift this? I don't know. I guess the question is she the most famous person to ever step foot into onto an NFL stadium or into a game to watch?
Well, Michael Jackson did a halftime show, didn't he?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. The most famous, I don't know, but she right now might be the most famous person in the world if she's up there. So as of right now, she is. And of course, television and all this stuff gets bigger and bigger, and the social media. at all times. So this is historic for sure, and I hope it doesn't last because it really makes watching the game unpleasant for me.
Gerald.
Well, and we know the Chiefs are probably going to be on a lot of primetime
Yep.
games and in big games this year. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I only give this about another month.
I don't know. I can't take another minute. Anyways, let's keep it moving.
Their dating is not going to last long, I don't think.
And so the last thing before we move on, because I do want to move on as well, but how about, not for nothing, Mahomes' slide down at the end. Normally those things that affect the spread, because he can easily go untouched and Kansas City covers, or he slides and the clock runs out and he chooses to slide down, which is the smarter move per se. But those things tend to balance out, you would think. Yet it seemed like 90% of the money I read was on the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's just funny how that works out.
All right. Well, Gerald, let's get it on over to another topic that nobody really wants to discuss, and it is kind of nauseating at times. It's the 76ers.
I'd rather talk about Taylor Swift.
We got a season, whether we like it or not. We got a season that we need to talk about, and I just, the guy before us, Colin Cowherd, I think nailed it. Stop talking about this team in the championship caliber light. Like, enough is enough. The Sixers are not a championship team. They're just not. They're not a championship franchise. And as much as I want to believe Joel Embiid is the best player on the floor, it's not enough. And this team has something about them right now. I'm trying like hell to give them the benefit of the doubt that it's a new year with Nick Nurse, and I like Maxey, and I can get behind some of these younger pieces. But, man, it's really tough. And this James Harden situation is another one of these deals where it's just not going to go away. It's going to be dragged out. And it's going to ruin it for a lot of people, including myself. With that being said, season, as I said, it's got to be played here. Where do you stand right now as the 76ers are going to be reporting to camp, I believe, in Denver, if I'm not mistaken?
God, there's so many points, Sean. I don't even know where to start. One of my highlights of yesterday was watching a plane fly overhead, taking a shot at Josh Harris. I mean, I was really fired up yesterday. I wanted them to win so badly because I did not, for any chance, want to see Josh Harris leave with a victory. And I think that Sixer fans, if the ones that are still wanting to show up for opening day and throughout, should wear Eagles green to every game and not Sixers garb. Wear Eagles Kelly green out for the first game. I mean, I'm so bothered by him owning Washington. But getting back to the basketball part, look, Daryl, do we need any more evidence as to how terrible Daryl Morey is and how awful what they've done has left the Sixers? So you can't compete in the trade for Dame Lillard. You can't compete in the trade for Drew Holiday. And you watch all the teams around us get better. So you come up short in the playoffs, and Joel Embiid has come up short his entire career. He doesn't have a supporting cast that can anyway make us a championship team. And it doesn't seem like he cares or gets it, because at the end of last year, he just said, I can't do it alone. Well, do it yourself. Like, bring a game that could make other guys be able to contribute and maybe beat Boston. Don't disappear for the last 5 quarters of that series and lose. So I've had it with Joel at times, but where I would differ with Colin Cowherd is, as long as you've got Joel Embiid, you've got a shot to win anytime he steps on the court if he really wants to. Well, the Harden front, look, I don't think he has a chance but to play. And clearly, if he couldn't be involved in any of these trades that just went down over these past few days, it's really unlikely that anything will happen. And I never expected anything to happen. So at some point, and it might just be opening day, because I'm not exactly sure of what the fines are for missing this portion of the camp and everything, but it pales in comparison, obviously, to what happens once the regular season starts. So I suspect that James Harden will have no choice but to play, because he's got 37 million reasons to play, and he also doesn't have anybody who wants him now. It's not going to go up by sitting out. So I expect him to play, but I also think that this animosity between the players in the front office is really deep. And guys, look, we weren't as good as really the Bucks, although the Bucks had an early exit last year and came up short, and Middleton was hurt and things like that. But adding Dame Lillard to Giannis and returning Middleton and Lopez makes them, a really great team. And then the Celtics, picking up Drew Holiday. I love Drew Holiday, and I always find the irony of the fact that the process started with the first move being trading Drew Holiday, who now, still 12, 13 years later, is not just a really good player, I believe potentially a Hall of Fame player, and somebody who might come stick the knife in us this year as part of the Boston Celtics. So he is a perfect complement to what they have. in their two stars there, and I think a real upgrade even over Marcus Smart. So I think the Celtics got better, the Bucks got better, and we sit here and did nothing besides Oubre. It's been an awful off season. Joel tweeted about it, and even he knows it's been an awful off season. There's not a lot to be excited about. Maybe the Sixers are fortunate that the Phillies and the Eagles steal all the thunder and they don't notice, but they are just Joel Embiid asking out and getting out away from being completely irrelevant again in this town like they were for so long. So I'm disgusted by it all. I even had a text exchange with Sam Cassell yesterday after the announcement of Drew Holiday that, and I've talked about it, how much I hate the Boston Celtics, and it goes deep. It goes back to Russell Chamberlain. I have a lot more years than all you guys when the rivalry was really intense, and through the Bird and Irving years. I really, really have a hatred of the Boston Celtics. And now my guy Sam Cassell's there, and I love Drew Holiday. I told Sam, I said, boy, you might make me like the Boston Celtics, because right now my hatred for the Sixers is pretty deep. There is nothing whatsoever about that organization I like at all.
Yeah,
I still love.
It's tough.
And it is, and so they're going to be opening within this month, and I have no desire to see them right now. It'll change because I love basketball and I'll be there, but it's been a very, very uninspiring off season. And as everybody breaks camp, and this is always where everybody has optimism, we have zero reason for optimism.
Yeah, no, it's well said all across the board. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with anything you just said, except for the part that we'll be cheering for Boston Celtics. That's definitely
Jerry would disagree because he thinks Joel's still the best player in the world.
There's no way he does. John's got to take that. Hey, before you get out of here, we're up against it. 60 seconds. I'll allow you to bloviate a little bit more on this than normal. You ready?
Go.
You got a final kick. You got Jake Elliott or David Akers to take it. Who you taking?
No bias. You got to take the bias out.
Look, it's such a great question. And for those who don't know, I represented David Akers on his career, and he's my guy, and I love him. And he is the best kicker in Eagles history.
You're damn right.
Now.
Oh, up till now. Whoa!
Hold on. I'm not passing the torch yet.
Okay.
But Jake Elliott is fabulous. And the reason I don't is because I look at the full body work.
David's going to kill you when he hears this audio. He is going to come at you hard.
He comes at me hard anyhow.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is Jake is incredible. He's kicked so many game-winning kicks. And at the end of the day, as his body of work grows, he is the only Eagle kicker who ever won a Super Bowl. And they may hopefully win more. So, and he makes kicks like yesterday's and the one to win the Giants game and the Super Bowl year and many others. I mean, I got to take my hats off to the guy. Yeah. Now, listen, the kickers have gotten better because Jake is at it. And I went actually today and checked the career numbers, and I wasn't expecting this question, but just to see where he stood. And he's now at 85%. Which is a little bit higher than David Finch was with the Eagles. And now he's in year 6 or 7, and it's really growing. So by the time, if he stays here for as long as David did, it's going to be tough to argue against Jake. Right now, it's still my guy. But, one of the things is you still see 2 Akers jerseys in the stands, but now there's a lot of 2 Slade jerseys.
Slade jerseys, yeah, I saw one yesterday.
I know you went, Akers job.
Slade, yeah.
It's been over a decade now since he's been here, so you have the passing of the torch. I don't think any of the Taylor Swift fans know who David Akers is. It's a new generation.
I will say I had a David Akers jersey. I won it in a small Madden tournament. It
was a popular jersey. It
so
really was.
I had a David Akers.
You know what? You don't see a lot of Jake Elliott jerseys. Maybe that should change. That should change.
Absolutely yeah, you're right.
I might go buy it.
Give me some Elliott Kelly Green.
I might go do it.
David held a special place in the city's heart and still does. And he had a way of making himself. He ran his foundation. He was very, very visible and very involved. And the other part is, as to where I'm still going to support my guy in this, is that the kicking has gotten better since David kicked here. And his numbers, he made 6 Pro Bowls and all pro teams and stuff like that. By comparison, Jake has better competition out there, or more equal competition, where David really shined above the rest of the kickers at the time he kicked.
And David Akers never had a teammate call him Chicken Little, right? I don't believe.
If David Akers had anybody call him Chicken Little, I don't know if that would have went well.
Choke him out.
Yeah, from the stories I've heard.
Gerald, you are the man. Always great to get you on.
Hey, guys, we got our show next week.
Well, hey, how about that? Look, we're going to talk about that later this week, I promise you. But he is right. Next Monday, live from Chickies and Pizza in Marlton, 6 to 8 p.m., we're back. We're going to leave it at there, and then I'm going to get you back on either Thursday or Friday, and we'll talk more about it.
Sounds great. Let's go, Phillies. Great talking to you guys. Have a great week.
My man, there he is, Gerald Cole, once again on the Gambler Hotline.
We got to go to break.
Yep, late for a break. Back after this.
MyPhilly.house will help you sell your home, whether it's in Center City, Manayunk, or along the main line, providing every client with unparalleled professionalism and breakthrough marketing strategies. Their organization is comprised of dedicated and experienced real estate professionals from Compass Real Estate, and they offer a collection of some of the most sought-after properties across the region. For more information, contact MyPhilly.house at 267-999-9205 or visit them online at myphilly.house.
Purchase new wiper blades from O'Reilly Auto Parts today and we'll install them for free. See better and drive safer with O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there, and around there, and even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Hey kids, breakfast! Look at you making smiley face pancakes. Seems like you're feeling much better. It was the Mucinex Fast Max Kickstart Severe Cold and Flu I got you, huh?
Definitely. Good thing I took it the other morning.
So you're ready to go for a walk?
Yep.
Any more pancakes?
Saved the biggest smile for you.
Aw.
New Mucinex Kickstart gives all-in one-and-done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. Come back with a kick with new Mucinex Kickstart. Use as directed.
NexGard Plus, a Foxolaner, moxidectin, and parental chewable tablets, is the one you want for your dog's monthly protection. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Ask your veterinarian about NexGard Plus Chews today.
Any puffy clouds this evening will quickly collapse once the sun sets. A clear sky overnight. Now, there will be some patchy fog setting up in some of the outlying suburbs. Low temps in the 50s for the suburbs, near 60 for the city. And any of that fog in the morning, if you encounter or burn off pretty quickly with a mostly sunny day on Tuesday. Very warm, 84 degrees. The record is 88 set back in 1941. And it's a tad on the humid side as well. I'm meteorologist Adam Joseph with your 6 ABC forecast.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up, we've had a crash on 95. Southbound has traffic barely moving, approaching Woodhaven to Cotman, where only the right lane is squeezing by, and northbound Jan Allegheny up to Academy with a gate for delay. The Vine Expressway eastbound tied up Schuylkill to Broaden, westbound back to Parkway to the Schuylkill merge. Westbound Schuylkill, Jan University to Girard and Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound, so Blue Route to Belmont and Girard to South. Watch for delays on 42 southbound from the Walt Whitman to Creek Road. Larry Totella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 five-star reviews and an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Here on MSNBC, we are staying on top of several fast-moving stories.
Today's news requires more facts.
A new report finds the climate crisis is getting much worse.
More context.
We are seeing record numbers of people crossing into the United States just in the southern border.
And more ground covered.
People here are watching what is happening in Kiev very closely.
The world's never been harder to understand. That's why it's never been more important to try. MSNBC. Understand more.
Stuck in that endless loop of deciding what to watch next?
I want to be free.
With Pluto TV, you can dive into over 250 channels dedicated to every genre and entertainment, from crime to action, drama, comedy, reality, and everything in between. Pluto TV is TV the way it should be.
I want to be free.
It's easy and it's free. Download the Pluto TV app on all your favorite devices and start watching now. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Your home for Villanova basketball is WDAS and WD273D, Fox Sports Radio Philadelphia.
Coming down the home stretch. Daily ticket on a Friday. I wish a Friday on Monday. Sorry, brain fried here. Trevor Bauer's on my timeline. What's it? This dude, like, how does he make it about him? I don't even know what the video is, so I can't say anything until I'm able to see it. But it's like, this dude, just go away, right?
That's where I'm at.
You know, it's like some of these people just can't deal with the
I
fact
don't know.
that they're no
and
longer
everybody's
getting
going nuts
attention.
about it because stuff that Bauer said, and I just don't care at this point.
Yeah, I guess I should watch the video before I speak on it.
Right, which I don't want to say too
Which
much.
I don't even want to do that because it's like the dude is so nauseating. It's whatever. All right, let's go ahead and quickly hit on some other items from the weekend, if I can. First of all, Ryder Cup was about how I thought it was going to play out. Unfortunately, just the drama, though, that it took place.
Yeah, what is going on with golf?
It's very odd. There's a bunch of
It's like a Kardashian household.
First of all,
God,
there was a bogus report with the whole hat nonsense that took over the timeline, and that's unfortunate because Patrick Cantlay is a damn good player, and he was out there representing the team. And if he had some issues about getting paid or not, like whatever, he went there. He knew what he was up against. I'm sure he was all in. And the whole hat situation came out of nowhere. Apparently wasn't wearing a hat because of protest, which was not factual. The dude was like, I couldn't find a hat that fit. Now, again, who knows what's true and what's not? I'm sure there's something in between there. Maybe the hat isn't true, but maybe he was upset with the fact that the pay wasn't there. We'll find out eventually. There's also a new report for Xander Schauffele that came out. Apparently this Netflix deal. And I mean, just too much drama when you had a European side that got embarrassed last Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits. And Rory said as much, where like, that can't happen. That won't happen. And here's the deal. They were really impressive and USA came out flat. And that was the ultimate deal breaker. The fact that they ended up losing 4-0 on Friday morning, which I look at Zach Johnson, the captain himself, who made the decision to go with those golfers in the morning round that ended up getting shut out, wasn't the best move. And, you look at a guy like Brooks Koepka that played his ass off. He wasn't in there. There were some other golfers that he could have tossed in there. Unfortunately, that was the start that plagued the United States all the way through. Now, USA showed some fight, and they got back into it and made you second guess for just a second on Sunday, but they were never winning that just because of how deep of a hole it was. Finally, on the Ryder Cup, 2 parts, actually. One is...
You're still going with this?
One is Rory and company want to come here and win at Bethpage Black, so that better be on everybody's mind. I don't care if it's 2 years from now or not. Those boys are fired up. They want to come here and win on American soil. It's not easy to do that. I didn't realize all the details that go into making a course when you're the home side. You can do whatever you want to a point, I would imagine, but they designed the course and made some distances really favorable to the European side. Really intriguing stuff from that side of things, and it makes sense. It's a home field advantage. But last thing I would say is they got to make a decision on some of these golfers if they're not able to get these points. Like, we want the best damn golfers out there. And if it's Bryson DeChambeau and Patrick Reed and Dustin Johnson, so be it. So be it. Bring them out, because that was embarrassing. That sucked. And if you're going to win on their soil, which hasn't happened in over 3 decades, you got to bring the fire. You got to have some dogs. I don't think we had them dogs to a point.
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Man, a lot to say about something that was over on Thursday. Good God.
Friday.
Thursday.
College football. Big takeaway from the weekend.
Oh, thank God. I don't know if any team is good.
I got such a bad beat.
I have no idea who's good.
Notre Dame.
Saturday, I was kind of up and down day. I had a couple of good plays, but I honestly, I don't know if we really do have a clear top 4 right now. Any of them.
I'll put Texas.
Michigan.
I'll put Texas in the
Nebraska.
top 4.
Can you though?
Yes, you can. Texas has done enough. Texas deserves the love. Believe me, I've been second guessing. I'm hoping for their failure from the beginning.
It's okay to still second guess them.
If
Georgia did not look good at all against Auburn.
If you're trying to say who are the 4, I was hopeful they were going to lose, because the way you and Joe laughed at that question, it was going to be an unbelievable soundbite. But unfortunately,
thanks, Bryce. I'm glad that's what you're rooting for.
Look,
on a college football Saturday.
Michigan, it's got to be in the conversation. You have to put
Michigan for sure.
Georgia,
yeah.
Texas. I think we can throw Penn State into the mix.
I guess my thing is like, are you that confident Texas is going to win out rest of the year and like still be in the college football playoff?
They got Oklahoma this week. If they could beat Oklahoma, sure.
I mean, their schedule isn't that hard. I guess you're maybe right. Alabama was the toughest test. Oklahoma is going to be their second, and that's really it. I mean, but still, I don't trust them. I think Kansas State could still beat them. And then, Big 12 championship game. But if they go undefeated into the Big 12 championship game,
they're getting it anyways.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just something about Texas that always just makes me feel like there is an oncoming just wreck happening for them. Because it's happened so many times before.
The Pac-12 not nearly getting enough attention.
Pac-12 needs way more attention.
But
way more attention.
But then you get teams like Colorado who lump up the defense of USC, and they give up 41 points, which was just a disaster. Offensively, I think USC can hang with anybody, but defensively, it's just get the ball back.
USC probably should have had 70 in that game.
Washington, they ended up beating Arizona. They were a 20-point favorite. They
didn't cover, but end up playing pretty well.
They were up pretty early in that one, but still tough game. Oregon smashed Stanford. I think they covered that number. That was a big time number still, though. Stanford stinks, but Oregon's really good. I don't know. It's tough, right? Like, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the Pac-12. I think they're earning it, but I would
all these teams are going to cannibalize themselves.
I'd have more confidence in Texas right now than any of the Pac-12 teams.
I guess you're right. I'm not confident that Texas is always going to be this great. Like, because it's happened so many years before. We talk about them being great, and this year's probably different. It seems like one of the best teams they've had in a long time. But there's always that a couple of games that they're not going to perform up to expectations. So they lose to a team like Kansas State. Drop another game that they shouldn't, and Texas 2 losses will keep them out of the playoff. But I mean, things look different. I don't know. I guess they do. But I'm not always a firm believer. But you look at that schedule. Other than Oklahoma, I mean, that is a very winnable schedule. Because then after that, they got Houston, BYU, Kansas State, TCU, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. The only team that's good out of all of those teams is Kansas State, and that's it. And Kansas State's not even the best. So I don't know. Maybe Texas I should be higher on.
Yeah, I think Texas has earned it.
Yeah.
And Kansas was without their quarterback, which was a complete game changer.
Oh, yeah. Kansas had no chance in that game without
none
Daniels.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me right now, the 4 best teams, which I am right now, top 4, Georgia, Texas.
Is this in order?
No.
Okay.
Georgia, Texas, Michigan. Man. Who else? Because I can't go Penn State. Can I?
I was about to say, I mean, Florida State, maybe. Ohio State,
Man,
even though
that game against
Ohio
Clemson,
State.
it really wasn't all that impressive. It just wasn't, in my opinion.
It's been a couple of games now where they haven't really been that impressive. Boston College wasn't impressive, and Clemson should have won that game. You know, I don't know how good Clemson is. Clemson looked much better against Syracuse, so maybe they are a really good team, and we should be giving them more credit for that win. But to me, that I didn't feel like they won that game. Clemson threw it away.
I still might go USC.
I would not go USC.
Because what? Because the defense?
The defense is too
oh,
bad.
Come on.
I would put Ohio State over them. I'd put Florida State over them. I'd put Oregon over them, and I'd put Washington over them.
That offense is ferocious, man. That offense is really skilled, fast.
It's amazing.
High-powered. All right, so their defense gives up 40. They're going to score 45.
Not all the time. I mean, there's no way you can expect. I mean, USC is going to drop a game because of their defense. I mean, they're going to lose games because of it.
All right.
No way you can.
Mark the tape. If you ask me the 4 best teams in college football right now, I'm not going ACC. I got Texas from the Big 12. The SEC, I'll go Georgia. I mean, Alabama.
I mean, I would just want to do it just to give more love to them, but I think Oregon. I mean, they have the win, top 25.
Yeah.
They've dominated teams.
Well, who you got, USC or Oregon? Where's that game being played at?
That's a good question.
That game is in Oregon on November the 11th.
That's a loss for USC.
I disagree. Long way to go. Long way to go. We'll find out, but right
it is,
now.
But this is kind of my point, is that even, last week, it was supposed to be just a simple week, and I still couldn't figure out what teams were actually good.
USC is good. How could you say they're not good?
So not good, but what usually at this point by now, we'd have a great understanding of who at least the top 4 to 7 teams, because we'd have the 4, there would be a couple teams on the bubble, a few teams, and then we go, okay, those are the teams. Now I think Joe and I went through this exercise, and I think it's even more wide open now. You could probably say 12 teams legitimately could be in the college football playoff. And I don't think that number is getting narrow. I think it's getting wider. I don't know. I mean, do we include Washington State in this conversation? They've been great. When do we put North Carolina in the conversation? North Carolina's undefeated right now. I don't think, again, they're great, but they're undefeated and their ACC schedule is not going to be that hard. There's just so many teams, and Notre Dame's still in the conversation, and they have 1 loss, but they're still in the conversation.
They're not in the conversation.
Why would they not be?
They're not in the conversation.
Why would they not be?
Nah.
A 1-loss Notre Dame team's not getting in.
No.
With the amount of top 25 wins that they would have. They absolutely would. Notre Dame? Yeah.
Well, what else has everybody got? Right? That's what it comes down to.
Because the Big Ten teams
all play each other.
Two of the 3 are going to have losses.
Okay, well then what if Ohio State loses? Well, they lost to Ohio State, so that's exactly. So what if Ohio State?
But that's
loses
the thing. If Ohio State loses twice to Penn State
Correct.
and Michigan, then yeah, they're out.
Which I think will happen. And
Notre Dame somehow gets an easy top 25 win against Louisville.
I'm willing to bet Notre Dame does not make the playoff this year.
I mean, it's
right
fair,
here,
but,
right now.
But I mean, they are in the conversation, firmly in the conversation.
You know what? This is why I love this. Where's your money at? Right? Where's your money at?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is I
just want to see.
I have not gotten any read on how this season will go. I feel like it's more wide open than I am used to college football being at this point. This would be a perfect year for the 12-team playoff, and unfortunately, we're not going to.
Unfortunately, yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm right there with you on that one. No. Well, anyways, it was fun to get some winners to start it out. We were hot on Friday. We had the under and the Oregon State Beavers.
Oregon State.
Yeah, they rolled. That
Let's
was easy.
go.
Took it into Saturday and just had a bad beat to lose on Saturday, and then followed up on Sunday, had some winners, and then pushed it all in for Kelsey. Anytime touchdown, nothing there. And now we roll into Monday, and we're going to give the people a winning play right here, right now. Seattle. Take them.
Are we going Seattle?
Have to.
I think it is Seattle or nothing. I just don't trust the Giants have looked very bad, especially offensively, and Saquon Barkley being out. Maybe that should be made more of a bigger deal. Maybe the line should be moving more. I mean, already Seattle being a favorite, I think, is everything you need to know with the Giants without Saquon.
Geno Smith to throw an interception plus 135. Daniel Jones to throw an interception plus 105. Let's see here. Yeah, I just honestly, I got no interest in this game whatsoever. I'm sorry. I know
it's ugly. I don't trust either team. I don't think it's a good spot. I mean, I say that Seattle would have to be the play, but I mean, to me, this seems like a pretty good spot just compared to last year and what these teams were last year and so far this year. Are they really that far apart to where Seattle should be a 2.5-point favorite?
Yeah.
I mean, these are both teams that were wildcard teams in the playoffs last year. Is it that much of a swing that, we should be thinking twice about taking Seattle as a favorite on the road in this game? But I think that's a lot of that is that line telling you, A, the Giants aren't playing well, but B, Saquon Barkley's out.
Kenneth Walker, touchdown, Seattle cover, and we'll talk about it tomorrow on the show. Good luck, though, on all your plays.
I won't have any.
Yeah. Coming up next.
I'm a spectator for this crappy game.
Phillies. Luke and I on the Phillies. Tomorrow, right back at it. We got ourselves a playoff baseball game to discuss, so don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. We'll hit on that here. And then, like I said, tomorrow at 3 p.m., you're going to get a little of everything. Philly Exchange, of course, Luke and I on the Phillies previewing the game itself. Jansen will be here as well. A lot to do. Busy week for us. Once again, Thursday, Trap Tavern. Trap PA will be out there for Thursday Night Football.
Hey.
And if there is a Phillies game, we'll be there for that as well. We'll be streaming live on our YouTube channel.
Let's hope there is.
Giving away a Birds trip courtesy of our friends over at Miller Lite. Coming up next, Luke and I on the Phillies. Back after this.
Experience the excitement.
It is the 13th year of the iHeartRadio Music Festival.
The emotions.
Love you guys. We're so happy to be here tonight.
The surprises.
Are you ready for another I can't believe it moment?
The superstars.
It's such an amazing honor to share a stage with so many unbelievable artists.
And of course, the music.
Our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival is coming to Hulu.
You will not want to miss.
Stream the special starting October 10th.
You call and Big Al will answer. After any accident, call 1-800-HURT-123. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call Big Al.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, now.